Is Christianity a white man's religion? No. Allow me to explain why. What slave owners would do was take scripture relating to slaves completely out of context in order to justify their actions concerning the kidnapping and slave work of black people. And because they didn't allow the slaves to read, they were not able to read the Bible completely and see that, hey, they've taken this scripture out of context. And this is because slavery in the Bible was not the same slavery that was prevalent in the United States. Those who were considered slaves in the Bible were not taken against their will. They would become slaves as an act of endeavored servitude, somebody who could not pay off a debt, and because they didn't have the money to pay it back, they would work it off. The only instance I can think of in the Bible where slaves are taken against their will was the Israelites in Egypt, and God set those people free. He set his people free in that one instance. But even at that, there was a system set in place in the Bible that if a person who was in debt had worked for 6 years, they would have their debt cleared and they would be done. Even if the work they did in those 6 years wasn't equivalent to however much they owed that person, they were still free. This is in Exodus chapter 21, verse 2. And it states, if you buy a Hebrew slave, he may serve for no more than 6 years. Set him free in the 7th year, and he will owe you nothing for his freedom. Right? Some of the founding fathers of the modern Christian theology were from different parts of Africa. We have Tertullian, Origen, and Augustine, one of the great church fathers, were all born and were from different parts of Africa. And a lot of people don't even know that the book of Mark in the Bible, in the New Testament, who was written by Mark, his roots were in Northern Africa. He was African. Lastly, I want to leave you guys with a quote from Frederick Douglass on his perspective on the Christian faith. I have, in several instances, spoken in such a tone and manner respecting religion as one possibly led those unacquainted with my religious views to suppose me an opponent of all religion. To remove the liability of such misapprehension, I deem it proper to append the following brief explanation. What I have said respecting and against religion, I mean strictly to apply to the slave-holding religion of this land, and with no possible reference to Christianity proper. For between the Christianity of this land and the Christianity of Christ, I recognize the widest possible difference. So wide that to receive the one as good, pure, and holy, it is of necessity to reject the other as bad, corrupt, and wicked. To be a friend of one is of necessity to be an enemy of the other, right? He says, I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle plundering, partial and hypocritical Christianity of this land. Indeed, I can see no reason but the most deceitful one for calling the religion of this land Christianity. We can see that even as a slave, Frederick Douglass can make the distinction between Christianity and the falsified one slave owners attempted to twist and pollute it into. So to answer the question, is Christianity a white man's religion? No.